Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the JulesTheHuman Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today we are finishing the last time we were talking about Bofuri, an anime we spent a lot of time on already, and we're going to be rating the anime. We're going to be putting it up on our list of all the anime we've seen in season 2 so far. It's going to be rated, some of them by me, my co-host, but also by you because we had some people voting, and those votes count as well. We're going to be picking a brand new anime by the end of the show. We're going to be picking one from this list here, which is suggested by me, Matt, or somebody from the community with a $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. So if there's still time by the end of the episode, you can get one of your favorite animes possibly in the chest so that we can pick it out and watch it in the future. But I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing?
I am so good. I'm a little sleepy. I was up pretty late the past couple days just grinding my Disciple of Land and Hand classes on Final Fantasy 14 because
Oh,
man,
God.
if there's anything Bofuri gave me, it was reigniting my love for Final Fantasy 14.
You're playing the game wrong. Damage, big damage, big mage, fire. No. You're just sitting there.
But I'm doing good. Yeah, this anime has been all season. I've been asking for like a good palate cleanser. I consider my palate cleansed.
I think this is it.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for whatever comes next. It's going to be one of these anime
anything
here or one of the ones that are suggested possibly by the chat today. But yeah, I think overall it was just something a silly little ride with some silly little characters, and some fun was had. And we're going to get into the last 4 episodes. So if you don't want to get spoiled for the end of the first season of Bofuri, tune out now, come back later and watch those episodes. But we're going to be talking about episode 9 through 12 and then ranking it. So let's get started because I have a long show to go. Episode 9, defense and 4th event. What happens in episode 9?
Maple shows off her new mecha mode as everybody prepares for the next event. Sally spots Frederica spying on Maple Tree and challenges her to a duel for guild information. Frederica accepts, however, she surrenders just as things are starting to heat up, giving Sally the scoop on the Flame Emperors. The rules of the guild event are explained, with the guild deciding their strategy will be to preserve Maple as their secret weapon for as long as possible. Sally gets into a scuffle with Dread and then Mai while out collecting orbs for Maple Tree, and many guilds respond to having their orbs stolen, but Maple Tree's defenses appear to be impenetrable.
Oh man, 4th event. They've been calling this one out for
event.
a couple. Yeah, they've been calling it out for a couple of episodes now that this is the guild event. This is it. Episode 9 going into the end, I didn't think it was going to be all this event. They spent a lot of time in this event, the last 4 episodes, and getting this whole big sort of blow off thing that we're going to talk about later. But at the start of this one, we get sort of like this pool episode reprieve.
Yeah, we get like a little beach episode segment.
And
sure.
I mean, again, in every episode, I think in every episode of the show except episode 1, there is some sort of montage. But I don't mind these little reprieves from all the action, because whenever they do give me action, I'm like, okay, cool, this is dope. I'm excited, all the fight stuff going on. But then, of course, to juxtapose it and make those fights seem epic, you have to have something else to, compare that to. So these
Otherwise,
little
it'll just be burnout of like big explosions and fighting and bombastic action. You need the more subdued moments in order for those payoff moments to pay off.
Yeah, hit home really. And whenever they get the new little outfits, they have their little swimsuits on. Like, I'm just a sucker for outfits in general, outfit changes in general. And I think so far, Bofuri has the most outfit changes in any anime we've seen so far, I think, because they're just like, boom, here we are. new outfit, whatever. I'm like, yo, cool. Okay, I'm
Isn't
down
it
for
great
that.
that Iz was able to make us a bunch of swimsuits?
Yeah.
It's
Is it
just
just
like,
making a bunch of stuff?
oh, Iz just made them. Okay, sure.
We get the introduction of a character, Federica, who is scouting Maple Tree.
This is like
And
she finally makes a kind of like a more formal introduction,
yeah,
but she was the first person that Maple spoke to when she started playing the game.
yes, but yeah, like you're saying, it's a more formal introduction because we don't hear her really talk at all before this.
Nope.
We don't get to see any of her powers before this, and she seems pretty cool. She seemed like a good mage. I've been playing a lot of black mage in Final Fantasy, and she was just firebolting. And I was like, yep, that's what it is.
Firebolt, multi-firebolt,
Yeah,
multi-firebolt,
I was like, I'm
stone
down.
bolt.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did she said like icicle bolts or something, and I was
Yeah.
or ice bolts, and I was
Ice
like,
bolt,
are they all
multi-barrier,
bolts?
ice bolts, multi-barrier,
Yeah.
multi-teleport.
So Sally and Frederica square off, and the things I like about this anime is that they kind of go in depth with showing you the world and letting you know how the world sort of works, and then Maple sort of puts a spin on it. And in this case,
Yeah.
it was Sally, where she knows, and it just really shows how much Sally is thinking. And I really like that because she is an elite player, quote unquote, to everybody else. How she was fighting Sally, but she was naming out things that were fake. So they were fake skills that she was technically not using, but pretending to use against Frederica in this fight. And I was like, oh, that's really clever. I would
Yeah.
not have thought about that.
I
And it's
I
really
didn't
cool.
catch it at first, but I didn't catch it until she explains what she was doing. But like in the moment, I'm like, yeah, that just seems weird. Like she said a skill name, but then like nothing like really happens. So you
Yeah.
get the feeling that something's off, and even Frederica does too. She's just kind of like, is that what she just did with that? But then yeah, it's definitely a setup for something later for sure, which is really cool. I like that.
Yeah, very cool. Cosmo, is that the Poppy Jules and Zaddy Galley about to educate us on some anime? We are. We're going to pick a brand new anime by the end. We are finishing talking about Bofuri today. So they do this long sort of explanation about what the fourth event is. A lot of it, I was just kind of like, I'll wait to
They
see it in
explained it and
action.
then re-explained it.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? And then
They
the
do
way
it with all the
they,
visuals, and then what's his name? I'm forgetting the other Great Shield user. He's just kind of like, okay, so, and then he
Kasumi,
basically is that his name? Kasumi? Yeah.
Kasumi.
He yes, he's like, okay, so, and then he just repeats everything that was just said. And then Maple just kind of like summarizes it by saying, whoever gets the most orbs wins. And it's like, yeah. That's all that needed to be said.
Yeah. So they kind of basically said it's like capture the flag. It's a little like that where you got to capture the orbs. You can hold. I think where they did try to complicate it a little bit, but I don't know. When you hear what it was, when you heard what it was supposed to be, and then you see it in action, I think that explanation could have been a little bit shorter because they
Yeah.
could have just said something in battle, like, oh, we have to hold this for 3 hours to get points. Like that whole thing where they're like, grab orbs, get more orbs. You have to hold these for 3 hours. The days are
Big
shortened.
team, medium team, small team.
Big
This
team,
many
medium. So
points,
here's
depending on what
one,
team you
one,
are.
two,
Blah,
two.
blah, 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 blah.
But
Blah,
then
blah, blah, blah.
we never all that explanation, but we never really like see the points really.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter to us. So I was just like, because every time they did look at the score, they were like, oh, we're in 16th place. We're almost there. And it's like, that's it. Like you spent all this time on like, you are a smaller team. You have two. These teams get one. These give one. You have to hold it for three. And then if you do this, and I'm like, oh, explanation for you to be like, oh, we're almost there or something. I don't know. It was kind of wild for what they were trying to pull off. Unnecessary, but
it was unnecessary to explain it to that extent, and then like I said, to just absolutely re-explain it, and then to summarize it. It's like, yeah, we don't need all three of those things back to back to back.
Definitely.
Sure.
We get a short level grind montage. So we get the montage for the episode. And then we get Sally versus Dread. Sally steals from the Flame Emperors, and then we have this characterization for the very first time
For
of the
me,
Flame Emperor's me, and she has this sort of sadness. We see this her sort of
the
discouraged,
stress of
distressed because she's letting everybody down that's in her guild. Like, what do you make of me so far? Because we've only seen her as this leader, and they even made like big sweeping words about her being like, oh, she has so much charisma, she's the leader, she matches Maple sort of in being a leader. And then we see her like this, like, what were they trying to do here?
I mean, I think it's pretty funny and silly.
It's
'Cause
funny.
just like it matches the tone of the show for sure. I don't think it really knocks her down any pegs as far as being like a as far as her position as the Flame Emperors, because we see like her bounce back really fast.
Yeah.
Um like, so it's not something that she really lets like hold over her, but I think it's really funny that in the moment we just have this flaw of like, yeah, she's maybe a little bit of a sore loser and maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of a crybaby, and that's where that all comes from, is to, kind of to keep the girl boss on top, so to speak.
Get up, you weenie. You gotta lead the Flame Emperors.
But
Jesus.
it's just we're getting that in episode 8, where everything else we've seen out of her has been like being a strong, commanding leader. But here in her first direct confrontation with like the members of Maple Tree is what it really takes for it to kind of push her to that breaking point. At least like it seems like that's the first that she's ever really kind of had that sort of reaction. She's
Definitely.
like, I can't take this anymore. Being leader, bro, I'm letting everyone down. This is
Yeah,
too much. Like, I just think it's silly for her as a character. And then
for sure.
it's definitely only in like her it's in moments by herself, and it's not like she's not
Yeah.
breaking in front of other people too. And
No,
I think that goes to speak about her character as well.
for sure. Hello everybody joining up on YouTube, Gemini and CZ. Hi, hello. How are y'all? Hope you're having a good day. We were talking about Bofuri episode 9. But what I thought about when we get this moment with me and some other moments in the future, and especially when we get to, spoiler, talk about Pain and we meet Pain and all that, I really wished, well, I don't know. I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts. We've only seen ever outside of the game Maple and Sally.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
I
thinking.
really wanted to maybe
Who's
see
playing these characters?
who's playing these characters, because I thought that would have been a perfect moment for Mi's character whenever she's there down on her luck and losing, to just rip off the headset or whatever and just be like a really angry little kid or something, like to just be a 6-year-old or something and just be like throwing a tantrum. And I'd be like, oh, that adds so much more context to the character. It would have been so good and added so much to the story, I think, if we would have seen some key moments with other characters outside of the VR sort of thing.
I
What do you
agree.
think?
I completely agree with that. That's it wasn't until they had like the final breakaway where
Mhm.
Sally and Maple start talking IRL again after the event's over. And then I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, like I just want to see them all in their little Discord call and all of their little bedrooms, just like talking about their what's next for the guild and stuff. And Kuromu actually has like a bunch of plushies and stuff in his room and shit like that. I
something.
don't just like
Yeah,
make play off of their character, um the characters that they're displaying in this game, to add some, yeah, just small comedic touches, but also characterization to them as having, they are a character in a game, but they're also a player playing the game.
hmm Gemini says, haven't even heard of this anime. I would definitely recommend it. I think this is a little bit early to talk about it, but Bofuri, I don't have the full title name.
I don't
Maxing
want to
out my
get hurt, so I'll
defense.
max out my defense.
There it is. Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. I think it's really good. I definitely would recommend for a silly little time. Oh, and I do want to say, you posted in the Discord, Matt. Did you switch over to English voice acting?
I did.
What would you think?
It was pretty good. The English voice acting was just nice to, kind of not have to read the subtitles as much. I still have them down there just doing their thing, but it was just added to the comedic timing of
Yep.
watching the show for sure. And then as I went back and grabbed like screenshots, I put it back in subbed in Japanese, and there was definitely like it's definitely, if you want to watch this as an action anime, I think it's still better in dubbed. Like when they're saying the repetitious skills
Sure.
that they're using and stuff, it just sounds cooler in Japanese. I don't
Okay.
care.
Fair.
But with all of the actual like outside of combat moments where they're just having their silly little conversations and stuff, yeah, the English voice acting is for sure preferable for the deliveries.
Awesome. So we
And
get
it's just
some.
just the voice actors do a very good job at portraying in the English voice acting like I'm forgetting everybody's Maple Tree's name. Everybody in Maple Tree, all their voice actors just do a very good job at like,
Come
giving
on.
life to their character.
Yes.
Adding like a warmness, adding like a coldness, they each have a little bit of a difference in the direction that they're taking.
I think I
So
liked Is a lot.
yes, it feels
Um,
like, the has like that the matron warmness of like, these are
yeah,
all my like little
my little,
subordinates, and I'm
my
gonna
little,
take care of them. I'm gonna
my
craft
little
them the
guys.
best gear.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna,
that's
I'm gonna take
that's what I
care of
felt,
them.
and it was very hard. Like
And
it's
then
very
Kuromu
hard
just seems
to.
like, the cool older brother, cool uncle energy.
Yeah,
He's just hanging out playing the game.
it's like, oh
He's a
well.
monster in his own way, as he says.
Yeah, and it's very hard for, well, I don't know, that to portray in voice acting, or we don't really see that as much, but it was very prevalent in the English voice acting for this show, where it was like they were bringing something extra to their characters with the English voice acting, and it was very appreciated.
Hmm.
Gemini says, I always end up enjoying dubs more unless the voices are ridiculously bad. There are some out there that are really bad. It's pretty funny. So we had some beautiful shots, awesome attacks. It all looked really great. Animation looks really great in this episode. A lot of fighting and stuff. We're ramping up the fighting because this is the fourth event. Now we get into episode 10. Episode 10, defense and attack. What? Wait, hold on. Oh, you.
Oh yeah, I messed up. And I was like,
Okay,
he'll get
okay.
it. He'll get
I
it.
was like, what?
Sorry.
Okay. Episode 10, defense and attack. What happens in episode 10?
Pain is shown to be wiping the floor with all guilds attempting to get in his way. Meanwhile, Sally works to get as many orbs from the smaller guilds as possible before they start disappearing, as the rest of Maple Tree attempt to help Sally out as well. But this leaves Sally surrounded by Frederica and troops from the Order. Maple arrives just in time to help and scare everyone off, but this gives Dread an opening to attack Maple Tree while only being defended by Yui and May. They hold out long enough for Maple to return and stop Dread from taking their orb, noting that the piercing damage did seem to hurt Maple. Sally shows off her map of the area as Maple Tree goes into phase 2 of their plan. March Maple around and take everyone's orbs. This forces Maple into direct conflict with Mai of the Flame Emperors.
Ooh, baby, bro. This, okay. It's all been chill. It's all been fine. We've had some silly little moments and stuff. When they were hyping up this battle, when they got to this screen, I was hype,
I was feeling the heat.
bro. When they're like, oh, I didn't even notice at the beginning. They were like, okay, how about you two back me up? And then Maple's there with the two girls. And then it's like, boom, boom, three. And I'm like, oh, I
Yep.
didn't even, I was like, yo, it's so good. So in the beginning of the episode, we have Pain showing his face for the first time because we've always
First
seen him
time
through
Pain reveal.
Pain revealed. Oh no, he's hot.
Oh no.
We get a lot of overpowered Maple in this. Sally attacking smaller guilds now early on. Kanade, which is somebody. Kanade is an odd character because they are often alone, working on their magic skills, reading stuff, figuring things out, upgrading. And I did not think Kanade, I thought Kanade was the weak link for sure. And they may still be, but I did not think Kanade would be pulling it off as much
It's
as
just
they
like
did in this one.
demon arm. Boom. Mine.
Yeah,
He's just like, and I'm
insane.
out of here.
I was like, whoa, Kanade is cool. I was like, okay, but I wish we had more like interaction with them because they seem pretty
Yeah.
fun.
Again, it's one. I think Kanade would be one of those perfect characters that just you jump to IRL and you see that Kanade. I don't know. There's a lot of directions you could take with character like
I
that.
don't, yeah, I don't know if
Just
they
the
have enough
whole.
time though.
Yeah, exactly. But like again, it doesn't even need to be. It doesn't need to be like how it spends time fleshing out Sally and Maple, right? Because for me, every line in the show is either like characterization, plot, or world building. It's one of those three things, which is good. That's what you want. But you can do with animation, not everything has to be a line. You can literally just have those cutaway shots of them in their room, like Kanade and Iz dies, and it's just like, and you just see them in their room just for a moment, like it doesn't have to be a lot, but just give us that little something. And even in those moments where like spoiler, when Pain starts cutting everyone down and it's like, why does the tone feel so serious, man? We're still playing a video game. And it's like stuff like that could just help break that tension. But again, it's in the climactic episode, I guess that's kind of what you want, and they do a good job of doing that when we get there. But
the two characters I wish we would have seen outside of New World Online, my and Pain, both of those two, just because we still don't know a whole lot about Pain. I mean, we get some characterization, but
you get a lot from. I got a lot more than I expected I was going to get just out of like these last 4 episodes with Pain, in terms of his lines characterize him very well, and just how he carries himself even in defeat says a lot about himself. That's what I got from him for sure. Where it's like as everything starts crumbling, you know, he's got a smile on his face, and I just thought that was really, you know, telling for sure.
Telling of the world grinder that he is, that he loves a challenge.
Exactly.
And he wants to push forward.
Like, oh, there's still something bigger, better, stronger out there for me to overcome.
Kuromu uses a very important skill that will come up later, you call Dead or Alive, where in the off chance that you go down to 0 HP, there's a 50% chance that you can go back to 1 HP and still alive. And we see that. I didn't think much of it. I did write it down because I'm like, okay, that's a really cool tank quirk or whatever. And apparently gets used a bunch after this. So
bro, he just be like, flipping the coin.
Roll
those dice again, baby.
And
put it all on black.
Yeah, for sure. And Maple does it too. And I think Pain does it in the big climax, one of them. And it's like, whoa, I did not know this skill was going to be very important. We get Kasumi fighting the split sword. I don't know his name. Sheen? I think his name's Sheen. Frederica confronts Sally finally, and we get a lot of tension in this one. A lot of tension for what goes down, and how Sally was holding her own for a while.
And Frederica's like, oh, she just used her OG CDs. Those are going to be on cooldown. They're going to be pretty long.
No.
And she just keeps on going. And she's like, where's the cooldown?
Yeah.
Those are her reflexes. She's just doing that.
I liked it. I don't know if that was the big payoff that I really wanted, but I mean, it worked out fine for what was going on.
For me, it's like that gave the reasoning as to how she would have been able to cut through like all the forces, and then Frederica would have needed more reinforcements to get there in order to take her on. And in the time those reinforcements needed to get there, that's the amount of time Sally needed to get to save her. So it's like, it's in this last 4 episodes, they do a lot of like things like that, where it's like these little moments where people are holding out just long enough for like Sally to get there. Maple. Hello.
Maple to get there.
For Maple to get there, which can feel like a Deus Ex Machina in the moment, but like again, to me they're doing enough to justify that like she's getting there just in time because everybody else is good enough, and we've shown them grinding, working to get to the points that they're at to be able to at least stand their ground, give the enemy the best black eye that they can while they're going down as well, and give Maple the time to get there to respond.
Definitely. Dan says, "Oh, Kuromo's thing is totally different. He has a 50% chance to go back to full health on death. Maple's skill is only once a day." I thought it was the same skill that was being spammed. Well, not spam, but you know what I mean. I thought I didn't.
Stout Guardian is different than the one that he has
Than
for
Dead or
sure.
Alive.
And that's why he says
was
that, like,
different.
he's like, I'm tenacious in my own way. Like, don't compare me to Maple.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that. I thought I lumped it in with the other thing. We get the whole Maple save, which is insane, and showing off her insane mech shots. It's wild. Orbs under attack. Mai and Yui go down. Syrup takes a lot of hits, and I'm just sad.
Yeah,
dude. Sad
when
in
Syrup
the last
took the
couple
knife,
of episodes.
I was like, no, that's his shell.
Went boom, and then thunk, and he just like disintegrated. I'm like, what? Wait, what? In these last episodes, Syrup takes like 2 big hits, and I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah, it wouldn't have looked like anything if he was in like big mode getting that knife, but he
No,
was
he
like
was
tiny
little.
Syrup, and he takes that knife from Dread,
Poor
and then
turtle,
Sally takes the
Claire.
damage too, and I'm just like, stop.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like, Sally, you can get it back, but Syrup, man, Syrup got hit. Kasumi does some pretty cool moves here. We get some really, Maple Tree is just a really cool cast of characters because Kasumi's hair turns white, does some epic moves. It's really cool to watch them work together, and how we've gotten so many different groups together, and that's the best part. I like people working together, but then having different groups and seeing how they work together and how it's different and how the fights are different.
Pair off differently, and they complement each other's skills differently depending on the squad that you're pairing up. Because at one point Sally's working with Yui and May, but at another point Yui and May are with Maple, and like those dynamics are going to be totally different with how they work in his group. So it's really cool to see the show portray that. It's really cool to just see this show really feel like it gets MMO culture, and specifically like Final Fantasy 14 culture.
Sure.
I feel very like the shows almost could be just existing. The show and the game Final Fantasy 14, just put that game in there and make it a VR MMO instead, and that's what they're playing, man. Like I accept that.
It's very cool.
All the outfits, all the vibes, all the little events.
So then we get the final showdown here, 3-on-3, Maple Tree versus Flame Emperors, going into episode 11. So what happens in episode 11? Defense and Mighty Foe.
Mi stays cautious against Maple and is forced into using her Flame Prison trump card. Excuse me. This seems to stop Maple until she goes mecha mode, leaving the Flame Emperor stunned and blown to smithereens. Mi responds by self-destructing on Maple's back, but this doesn't even scratch Maple as she continues to go on and grab more orbs. Pain, Frederica, Dread, and Drag would surprise Maple Tree by attacking them as a small task force instead of bringing their entire guild along. Pain puts Maple on the ropes, and things begin to look pretty grim.
As a penultimate episode to the season, I think they did up the stakes a lot, which is really fun. Where my Flame Emperor girl, she attacks Maple, puts her into a little cage, trying to figure out how to get out. And we finally get the stakes, I think, at the end, because all this time I've been feeling indestructible with Maple's armor, with Maple's different forms, all this stuff. And here is where I finally feel like, okay,
the top tier players actually have brains.
Yes, and they know their skills and they know what they're doing and trying to figure out a way behind all the machinations of Maple. And
they do a pretty good job.
They do, because they get the prison in keeping Maple down, getting her health actually going down. When I see Maple's health go down, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm looking
now's
at
the
that and
time
I'm
to
like,
panic.
oh no, she pulled out the percent HP damage.
Yeah,
Every tank's worst nightmare.
and there it goes. It's just going down. Maple left. What do we do? What's going on? Maple's a little overwhelmed. We get me as Maple gets out. The strongest shield versus the strongest lance. Me has a
Love that
secret
line.
weapon. Yeah, very cool. It shows like the stakes. It sets up stakes finally, because Mabel can take down anybody in this world except these, 2 people, I guess, the leaders of the other guilds. Um, prison, prison flame. I put prison flame does damage over time. Mabel turns into a mech. Muse treats and then self destructs and tries to take Mabel out with her. Doesn't. Sad day. Maple stays
She's
alive.
like, you're
Me
taking me
again.
out with you.
Yeah, me again
Off
runs.
no, she says, you're gonna off yourself. That's what Maple says. Maple's just like,
Like, no, what? That's not cool.
And then she just gets up out of the rubble like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And then me goes crying again, showing that there. Pain
Hearing
meets
that Maple took no damage. You didn't even scratch her.
yeah. Pain meets Maple Tree, and it's the Holy Sword versus Maple Tree, and the Sword of Judgment puts to end ? Maple finally goes down ? This point was hype because I was like, no way. She got.
I thought they were gonna do it. I mean, I thot something was gonna happen.
Imagine killing off Maple.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a Sally show. Ooh, that would get people mad. Oh man. But all in all, great animation through these fights, dude. These fights are so much fun.
These 4 episodes really do have some great animation, and it almost makes me forget about all of the little just times where we just kind of glazed over with a little montage of like still shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Has anyone noticed that Sally's not even been hit yet? She hasn't.
I don't think she has.
No, because she's always just
even
faster.
When Pain was about to hit her, he like didn't for some reason.
Yeah, just sitting there quietly in the background. I still have my dark arc for Sally, but I really want her to turn on Maple, man. Season 2, Sally better make her own guild.
I might watch season 2 by myself, man. Like
that's true.
This show's pretty good.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty silly. I do like the characters. We'll talk about it. So Maple gets struck down, and then we get into the final episode. Great stuff so far, and we're bringing it home. Episode 12, Defense and Bonds. What happens in episode 12?
Things don't look good for Maple Tree as Pain strikes down several members, and the others are preoccupied with the rest of the order. Maple uses counter, which Pain takes the entire brunt of the attack, leaving him at 1 HP thanks to Stout Guardian. Maple goes Kaiju and TPKs the Order of the Holy Sword, then going on to attack all of the other guilds in the event, causing a full-out war to begin. Maple becomes the end boss to the event and invites every other guild back to Maple Tree to celebrate the event coming to a close.
Yippee! One thing I do want to mention,
the final boss.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention about like the setup and things like that. They kept saying, this is one thing I had a problem with, really. They kept saying throughout the event, as it's going on, they're like, we're working so hard. We're a small guild. We're working so hard. We're killing so many guilds or whatever. And still Pain's group is somewhere in the top 10. We imagine that the Flame Emperors are somewhere in top 10 as well. But then like during the days as they're passing by, they're like, oh, we're still not even in the top 10. We're number 16 or we're number 14 or whatever. Who are these other guilds? Like, we don't see any of the other guilds. They're like, we're seeing Maple Tree working so hard and getting a bunch of orbs, but there's still so many other teams. They eventually die at the hands of Maple, sure, but we see so many other teams just still occupy the top 10. And I'm like, who are they? Like, how are they doing that? Is it just pure numbers? One thing with
Yeah.
the numbers thing that I was,
Because I would
okay.
I would assume, because like, it's the whole thing of like, oh, the small guilds are going to get knocked out first, then the medium, and there's barely going to be large guilds left. So I would assume it's just a bunch of Joe Schmoes and these huge guilds that are just pulling their numbers together to barely scrape by, and it's by numbers alone. But it is a little bit of cognitive dissonance when you see everything that they're doing, and it's like, oh, we're still not even in the top 5. Like, what? We're not
Yeah.
even in the running
And the only
to
way
get
to
an
make
award
it
yet.
is to kill everybody first and not by playing by the rules, quote unquote. And I was like, well, I don't
But
know.
I'm like it. So I do agree with you, but I also would say that it probably wouldn't be as exciting for it to just be like, oh, we're winning. Guess we'll just
Sure.
keep on winning.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't matter. In the end,
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah. In the end,
All the different things. I love like whenever they bring up stuff like the Stout Guardian thing with Maple, and they take a look into like the actual abilities of the characters. All that's fun and all that matters. But a lot of the other game mechanics, they don't really need to. It's just like hand wavy magic
it's
stuff.
to me, this show is exclusively the main driving force of whether or not you're going to enjoy the show is whether or not you just are sold on seeing the characters of Maple Tree continue to get stronger and better skills that are specifically designed for them to be able to like break the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they just keep
That's what
breaking
it
the
is.
game.
That's what it
Oh,
is.
we can dual wield two-handed weapons.
Because
And
I
it
maxed out my attack.
because I maxed out my attack. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a crafter and I usually have to be at my studio. Oh, look at this cool coat. I can craft anywhere now thanks to its perk.
Sure. Okay. Why not? Doesn't matter.
I can store bookshelves of spells
I can store
to be able
books of
cast
spells
to cast ritual spells that would normally take
instantly.
days to cast them instantly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I
And I
love
just
it.
learned
Like, I
this.
love it.
And he just learned this in a book somewhere. Just
Oh
learned
my
that skill.
god.
Whatever. Who cares? It's cool. Dan says bigger guilds means more people, means more raiding parties, means more points gained. Yeah, for sure. I can see that. I guess I
It's
just
just like, where are they? Like,
yeah, I
just,
guess I don't understand scale really,
yeah, it's
because
the
even
scale.
with the Flame Emperors and Pain's group, the Holy Sword or whatever, um, we didn't. I mean, he was giving orders a lot of the time to like one or two people, but we never see like the army in mass. I guess we see it.
In that one moment
The one
before
moment.
they ambush Maple Tree, because they're like, it's going to take forever for the order to get here. They got so many people, so it like shows off, oh, they got a bunch of people, but then they just show up as like their little task force.
I would like maybe one shot of just a boom, here's this guild, just like a mass of people. And I'm like, oh, okay.
The final shot of the event is like first, second, and third place. And it's like first is the order, second place is the Flame Emperors, third is Maple Tree, and you get all guilds standing like next to each other, and it's just like boom, boom, and then Maple Tree. It's like
just the little 8 or however many there are, for sure. I instantly turned on Pain when he took out because don't be doing nothing.
Bro,
She did not
that
deserve
caught me
that.
off guard.
He just and I was like, what? No, like it instantly added stakes to it just because was never really the fighter.
A combatant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's just throwing bombs around.
She just there. There was no intro song, no intro to this one, so we were just getting right into the action here. And also Dread kills Obero. Sally's little
why did she command him to attack? There's nothing he was going to do there. His 1v2. She was in a cage. Sally, use him to go invisible. Do some shit. Don't just send him out for a dry attack.
They need to take care of their animals. I don't know what they're doing. Man. Their pets. Their pets be taking the damage. Kanade goes down. Maple Mech Arm takes out Pain. Pain also has Stout Guardian, which is the one I'm talking about, which is the one that I, they all have similar effects, but it has, a similar
saves you from dying.
Yeah, saves you from dying in some way, and it does, pull out in a pitch like, oh, I have this, whatever. Maple calls atrocity, which nobody knows about.
Nobody
Also, the
knows.
mech stuff, nobody seemed to know about that. So Pain is a higher level, but he still hasn't like, we haven't heard about which world Pain is on, right? But he is a higher world, so he hasn't like, I guess, explored everything in each world. He just goes higher and higher and higher because it
Probably.
seemed like he didn't really know about all the different things that Maple can do. Maple eats them all.
Because like she wouldn't have gotten the machine god token if she didn't have
Fall.
if she didn't fall towards it, like, and she wouldn't have ever fallen towards it if she never had a flying mount to get her to where she was in the first place. Like,
Sure.
there's enough that Maple's doing that's just so unorthodox that I'm sold on the fact that she's finding these little oddities that keep her,
One of
Maple.
one.
Of one.
One of one in this entire world. It starts with her randomly talking to an NPC with basically no dialogue. Yeah. So
she's doing Maple things.
Pain ain't doing all that.
Exactly.
Pain ain't doing it. He's like,
not.
Give me a monster.
He's got a guild to lead and soldiers to
the old
order
ladies.
around.
The old lady's like, help my daughter, and he's like, fuck that. I'm out. Fuck your daughter. I'm gone.
Exactly, bro. You're telling me I have to take you through the woods and then
Escort
bring you
mission.
back?
Yeah.
Escort mission? Yeah, no, I'm all set, bro.
Everyone is fighting everyone. It is huge battle times. Flame Emperors are trying not to get eliminated. And then Maple protects the Flame Emperors to try and keep them alive, which was really nice and sets up for the end there. How do you feel about this ending?
That this was the perfect shot to like kind of have everything culminate with, in my opinion, for sure.
This is insane.
This is exactly what I mean.
I don't know.
That's what this is. Everything this show has been leading up to. It's this moment, in my opinion.
Yes.
You even said it yourself. Like when I think in the first 4 episodes, it was like, both of us were right. It was like, what were our predictions? Your prediction was that like Maple's going to become this like concept that is bigger than life, bigger than the game. And that's what happened right there. And then the admins are even talking about it. They're like, well, we can't nerf her because people are actively playing the game more to try to get strong enough to beat her. So if we nerf her, everybody's going to get mad. So there's what you said. I said Sally's going to become this like this person that like brings everybody together and everybody's like, yeah, we're doing it for Maple. And there you have it at the end where like everybody's sitting together at a table having dinner with each other. And they're just all friends now. They're even like, we've already added each other to our friends list. Like they're not enemies anymore. Everybody's friends, and it's thanks to Maple.
They weren't
so
really
both
enemies,
of our predictions were right. Which I think is just so amazing.
Yeah, there's the game devs are using Maple to get more people to play, like you said, and grind. It's really, and I wish there was more for the game dev, interaction there, but I feel like that can get played on to the next season or something like that.
Which we already have.
Yeah, and everyone comes over and they're all friends. I just think that I'm talking about fighting wise though. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what I mean because this just seemed like a lot, and there was stakes definitely, but then up until right before this, I was like, oh, this is just Maple doing her thing, and she's just OP, and it's all what's going on. So,
like they said, our goal is to preserve Maple for as long as possible, and it took the best player in the game getting his lieutenants together, forming a small task force, and directly assaulting Maple Tree in order for her to truly show all of her cards. I think I accept it. I accept it, even though the more I look at it, the more my brain melts, as it's already been put.
Yeah. All ends well. Bofuri is done. We are done with Bofuri. Maple has succeeded. We're going on to season 2. She's just playing the game however she wants. Now is the time for us to rank the anime. We rank it on 3 criteria: animation, storytelling, and vibes. If you want to check out any of the other podcast episodes we've done already on other anime, all of that stuff's available on Spotify and YouTube. But we put it all up here, and we put them on a board of all the anime we've seen in season 2 so far, and it gets ranked by our criteria. So, Matt, on animation, what would you rank animation for Bofuri?
Animation, I'm giving it an A. Animation wise, it's really colorful. It's a pleasure on my eyes to just look at this show do its thing. The environments are fantastic. They're varied. The only knock I'm giving it on animation is honestly for how sometimes you just get the little slideshows instead of actual animated things, with how often we get the little montages and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can't exactly say those are super exciting to watch, but they do their job in conveying what the story needs to convey at the time. So I'm still giving it an A for animation. Where are you giving it? What are you giving it for animation, Jules?
Before we get to that, Claire says, I'm going to turn into a monster. I'm going to make copies of you. I'm going to make copies of all the copies, Roar. Pretty much. That's how the ending happened. Dan says, I just want to point out it's end of the season. They still haven't announced the pets as a game mechanic. They killed a boss in episode 4 to get theirs. Meaning, even at this point in the game, people still aren't supposed to be strong enough to beat that boss. That's true. That this was supposed to be the end boss for, I guess until you level up way higher.
Silverwing, I think.
Yeah,
they beat Silverwing, and they're like, people aren't even supposed to be like, we put the Silverwing in there as a joke.
That's true.
To TPK
so they aren't
parties.
even supposed to have pets for sure. For animation, I would give this an A as well because I liked it. It looked pretty, looked gorgeous. I love the magic effects and things like that. It was just beautiful on the eyes, like you're saying. I wish there wasn't so many montages, and I'm kind of grouping that in with storytelling and animation.
Mm-hmm.
I get that you kind of have to whenever you're taking such big swings at some of the animation stuff that you're doing. But it was kind of weird putting it all in one in every episode. And it was just kind of a thing that I'm not the biggest fan of. Not the biggest knockoff, though, for an A. But it did look really pretty. Loving all the colors, and it looked gorgeous. So A for animation for me. Storytelling, where would you give storytelling?
Storytelling, I'm giving it a B. I'm giving it a B because as far as the story goes, it's largely just gonna be about, hey, do you like these characters and are you sold on watching them get all these ridiculous powers through all these ridiculous methods that make them stand out in their own unique ways? And if you're into that, you're going to be into that, but it's not going to be providing a grand story about interweaving character conflicts and drama or anything like that. But it is going to give you a very fun world to explore with a very likable character to explore that world with. And I think that is definitely its strong suit. So I'm giving it a B on that aspect. Jules, what are you going to give it?
Before that, CZ said, when did Bofuri come out? The animation kind of has that older feel to it, older art style, not animation. I'm tired. It's okay.
It came out in 2022, the first season, and we already have a second season, right?
I thought it was 2020.
Oh, it might have been 2020.
I just looked it up. Bofuri, when it released, first episode date was January 8th, 2020.
Okay, so 2020, and it has the older art style, but the way the colors like pop on all the characters and the way all of their art style, like not art styles, all their character designs like kind of are unique in their own ways to how they play the game and stuff. Like I feel like it has a fresh coat of paint on that classic art style for sure.
Definitely. Storytelling for me was a B, I think, as well. It's all super nice. It's all super fun. There wasn't so much stakes other than at the very end. And I love the characters. I really do. And I did fall in love with Team Maple Tree. But watching this person become so overpowered was fun. But for me, I need something more in season 2, and I need a little bit more story in season 2 about um I made fun about the whole Sally turn where she turns on Maple or something, but I watched the show and I really did enjoy it. I really liked the story that they were telling me, but I was constantly wishing for more. And I get that a lot of this first season is explaining mechanics, is explaining how these things work. And for people that don't play an MMO, this was very good to get them into what it actually is and to understand how this works. But for me, I think I wanted some more of a lot of the stuff I got in the last 4 episodes. And in the beginning, it was a lot of that handholdy stuff, which is fine. But I want that coupled with some more story, something extra, something happening in real life that's not just them keeping their grades up to be able to play the game still. I want some other stakes. If we're not going to make it with Maple because she is so overpowered, make it with her in real life and make that a part of the story somehow to give it some more stakes. Because Maple's going to kill everything, but her in real life, she's dealing with this thing that's happening, and
Mm-hmm.
she's getting so famous that people are finding where she lives or something. Dealing with fame, like that's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
something silly. But I want something else added onto it.
Because yeah,
Because
even when sorry, go ahead.
no, go.
Even when like they're flying around on a turtle and stuff overhead, and is like, I can see why you've become the talk of town, and she's like, what do you mean? And is just like, bro, you're famous. What do you mean? What do I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
people know your vase. Claire says, I felt season 2 was less interesting. It's more of the same, but we've seen that. That makes me sad, but
it makes
it's,
sense.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Claire's also says, you want maple syrup on your steaks? Disgusting. Yes.
Disgusting.
Last criteria to be ranked. Where would you put the vibes for Bofuri?
For me, I'm giving it an S on vibes because for like honestly, for all the reasons that I gave it an A in animation and a B in storytelling, I guess is like kind of the same reason I'm giving it an S in vibes is because it's just a lot of things that I like wrapped into this really enjoyable package that I don't have to take too seriously, and I don't, especially after swapping over and watching the dubbed um version instead of subtitles. It's just a very enjoyable, relaxing show to watch for me. And it's really fun. It's really fun to watch. It's not giving me anything that I need to think too hard about, even though there are some things that I thought were gonna play into some bigger concepts. They didn't really hit the home as big as it could have, but it always for me kept things in like a scope where it's making me laugh and it's keeping things visually interesting, and it's giving me the characters that I just want to see. The slight characterization of Mai and Pain at the very end was a lot to me, and for me kind of built promise into the next season. Sad to see that I'm hearing that it's just going to be more of the same, but like there's a lot there for me, and I just enjoyed it a lot. So I'm giving it an S in vibes because I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if this show's giving me anything, again, it's reignited my love for Final Fantasy 14. So I'll take
Same.
that.
I just did a
And
raid a little bit ago. Oh my god, so much fun.
for vibes, Jules, where are you going to rank Bofuri?
I didn't think about it as well, but we did the same ranking. So I did vibes as S as well because this was a really fun time. If I look over the whole Maple being OP, that thing still kind of bothers me a little bit, but with the ending stakes and stuff, that was fine with how they ended it. But I really liked the characters. I really liked the world. Even though some of the abilities are a little questionable, but I didn't need to look too far into it because we got so many cast of characters that are very distinct, very interesting and fun, and the constant changing of pairings up together once we finally get Maple Tree going was a ton of fun. And I really like Their interactions, it was really silly. I loved the art. It looked beautiful. It's yeah, like Dan says right now, it's definitely a very turn your brain off and just enjoy. Yeah, I could turn my brain off and it'd be super good, super great. I'm just here looking at the pretty stuff, and it's a really silly character, and you actually do root for this character Maple and Maple Tree to actually do it whenever they add stakes. So S for vibes for me. Really enjoyed it. I would say, yeah, if somebody wanted an anime to watch, I would definitely say watch Bofuri.
Yeah.
It's just like for
If you want
anybody.
something to watch that's like not going to be like bloody, gory, or violent, and but you still want action, the cool moves, and like power scaling and stuff like that, this is a great place to be for sure.
Yeah, really liked it. So with that, and with the votes from you, we had some A's and S's from votes from the viewers here of this show. And I posted that link in the Discord for everybody. So you can join the Discord if you'd like to get some information about this show. But the final ranking for Bofuri is rank A. So Bofuri is a rank A minimum.
Woo!
Going up with all the other A-ranked anime there. You see them.
Yeah.
You love them. There it is. Anime rank A. There it is. Gemini says it's a high rating. I guess I should check it out. It's really good. I would definitely say it's a fun watch. It is fun, silly, a little goofy, and it's pretty dope. Hello, Rex. Hi. Hello. Welcome in. So Bofuri ranked A. Definitely recommend from me. Probably recommend from Matt.
Yeah.
And from the
Again,
Jules and Matt Anime Hour.
It's for all the reasons that I said. If you want something low stakes, funny, silly, goofy, but still has action, still has, cool effects and powers and stuff, but it's not going to be something violent. It's not Attack on Titan. It's not Jujutsu Kaisen.
And it has really good voice acting for English.
Yeah. And if you don't want to read subtitles and you want something good to watch and dubbed, yeah, all of those reasons are good. Could be good reasons for you to pick this up. Again, for me, the biggest reason that I'm recommending it is because it just reminds me so much of just vibing and playing Final Fantasy 14.
If you played an MMO,
that essence of like playing an MMO very well for me.
It captures MMO vibes for sure. We're done talking about Bofuri. It's done. Maple's gone. It's over. She died. Finally. Now we get to pick a brand new anime to watch. And if this is your first time watching the show, we watch an anime possibly for the first time. Me and Matt watch it. We review it in episode increments. So we are going to watch the first 4 episodes of the anime. And we would invite you to watch it together as well. If it's a new anime, if you've never seen it, maybe if you've seen it and you want to rewatch or something, this is a good way to get yourself, seeing new stuff that you might not have seen on your own because you're watching it with us. So that's kind of what the thing is for the show. She what?
It has that gamer vibe, and I enjoyed it more than SAO. I'll Die on This Hill. No, this was bad. Like I'd give a numerical multiplier, but anything times 0 is still 0. So
SAO season 1 though. Season 1 good.
Of SAO is
bro. Gun Gale Online is fun too.
The first 4 episodes of it are pretty good, but after that, it's pretty. I don't know. We maybe
looking for a new podcast.
Add it to the chest. Somebody add it to the chest.
Gemini said, "Bungo Stray Dogs, please. Here are the anime that are in the chest right now, and we'll be picking one of these to watch with all of you. So name out your favorites there in the chat. Which one you're hoping for, because it's gonna be one of these. The fan service late game is pretty cringe. No, you're pretty cringe. Actually, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad." All right, and the next anime we are picking is, I don't know what I'm rooting for. I haven't seen any of them, so what is it?
This one is Comey Can't Communicate.
Comey Can't Communicate. I think that was
SpongeBob.
smudge pick.
Smudge
Comey
pick.
can't communicate. I've seen that on my manga journey. I've seen that pop up a lot, and people have that in their collection quite a bit. So the only fan service we need is Nanami being angry. So Comey can't communicate is the next one. Bubsy said, "Oh, that's a good one." So watch episode. We're probably not going to get through all of it. I'm assuming it's longer than 12 episodes. We're going to watch 1 through 4. Episodes 1 through 4 of Comey Can't Communicate. Watch that before next Wednesday so that you can come over here and talk about it. If you want to give us your thoughts about the anime as well, join the Discord. Discord's in the description of this YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube, or somewhere linked on my Twitch, possibly.
First season has 12 episodes.
First season has 12 episodes. We're going to watch the whole first season of Comey Can't Communicate. Watch episode 1 through 4 by next week so we can all watch it together. And I'm excited for a new one. I'm going to fill the Discord with fan service. Oh boy, make sure it's SAO. Matt, when you are not maxing out your defense, where can they find you on the internet?
You could find me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley doing some live streaming stuff. I need to get my OBS settings correct because I am recording everything too, and you
record everything?
I've been recording everything so I can make some editing and post some videos, but my first 2 streams have been so scuffed on audio, man. I need to get my audio unlocked, but find me having audio issues over on my YouTube at Matt_Galley. Follow me on my socials at NITS at the front. It's Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here yearning for Final Fantasy 14, where can the people find you?
On Balmung server in Final Fantasy 14. Go run some raids with me.
Oh, bro, gotta be on Goblin.
Ew, gross. At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. I post on YouTube a lot. I do some stuff for members. So if you are a Twitch sub from the past, you can become a member on YouTube and you get extra videos. So I've been posting a video extra for members of me playing a bunch of different games, just a ton of different games. I've had a bunch of them if you want to go look at the list. But for members, you can get the same subscription badges and you can get emotes to use in my YouTube chat, just like we did on Twitch. So you can do that on YouTube. I'm mainly on YouTube. You can find me at JulesTheHuman on everything else. You can find this podcast on my YouTube channel as well and on Spotify. So if you want to watch us on Spotify, if you have Spotify, the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, you can go back in our catalog. All of the episodes there are on Spotify. So next week, Comey Can't Communicate. Gemini said they haven't heard of that one either. Watch it with us. It's going to be my first time.
I haven't seen this one. Yeah.
I have no clue what this is. It could be a romance.
That's part of the whole appeal of the thing is we more than often than not haven't seen whatever it is that you guys are recommending, so you get to watch it with us for the first time if you haven't seen it either, and then you get to gauge your reaction versus ours. You get to talk about it with us while we're talking about it. It's a fun time. Everybody wins.
Definitely. So we'll be back next Wednesday for our first walk and talk through of Comey Can't Communicate. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.